Welcome to No Facts Needed, and today we're going to be talking about
the New York Jets.
All right, let's jump right into it. Let's start with the record predictions.
Yeah, off the bat.
2-14.
3-13 for me.
Oh, so you got them winning one more game than me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vegas has them at a solid 7-9. Last year they went 7-9.
Yeah.
So Vegas has confidence in them. We don't.
I don't remember them being that good last year.
I don't
So
either.
hats off to them for that.
Let's talk about their schedule a little bit. They play the Pats. Yeah.
2 times a year.
I mean, their division's pretty easy. I mean, they have the Dolphins 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, they play like the Cards.
They might be able to beat
Chiefs.
they might be able to split with the Bills.
Yeah. Their schedule, their strength of schedule is second hardest in the league right now.
Really?
Yeah, but when I look at it, I don't think that. Because, I mean, they played like the Raiders and...
I guess they do play the Chiefs and the Ravens and stuff.
Yeah, so, I mean, and the 49ers. Let's talk about their offseason. Let's talk about how they...
What did they do then?
Yeah, what did they do? They got some guys. Not very good guys. They got Josh Jackson, Brashad Perriman, Quincy Wilson, Frank Gore, and I put Avery Wilson and C.J. Mosley just because combined they played 2 games. So they do get those defensive players on their team, so that's good. But their draft was okay. They got
Mekhi Becton.
That was a good pick. I actually like that. Denzel Mims, I think he's going to be a bust. Not a believer in him. Their offseason was, you could definitely do worse. I don't think they made too many mistakes. With gaining people, let's talk about who they lost.
Yeah.
So they lost Kelvin Beachum, Robbie Anderson, Ryan Khalil, and Tremaine Johnson. Ryan Khalil and Tremaine Johnson weren't like great guys, but they played 7 games. So I mean they're losing some minutes right there.
Yeah, Tremaine Johnson, he got overpaid.
They got the 50-year-old Frank Gore still pumping, turning up yards.
Yeah.
Probably won't play at all. Probably will get cut before the season.
Hey, no he won't.
Well, he'll get cut and then go to like the Patriots and win a Super Bowl.
Oh.
Yeah. I do think their highlights Becton. I think that was a really good pick.
Yeah. It does kind of concern me because I think he has the highest upside of all the tackles we saw in the draft, but he also has the biggest concern.
Let's talk about their coaches. So Adam Gase is still riding the wave off of Peyton Manning and the Broncos from like 2015 or 2013.
Well, he didn't make the playoffs with the Dolphins once.
He surprises me every day. Is he a good coach? No, he's not.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I don't think this team is going to get any better until they replace Gase.
I think he's a little bit full of himself.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I've been getting the last year or so.
Okay, we can talk about Greg Williams. Paid people to hurt other people. So
Dude gets the job done one way or another.
this is like the total Jets thing to do. I'm not surprised he's here. Honestly, he's not that bad of a defensive coordinator.
No, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
Ethically, though.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the players.
Yeah.
So Sam Darnold. So he's played 13 games each season and never threw for more than 20 touchdowns and less than 13 interceptions. Completion percentage hasn't been that great either. Not a lot to do with people around him. He really hasn't had a wide receiver, but hasn't really showed a lot himself. He hasn't really flashed. Like, he's had flashes, but he definitely hasn't been consistent.
Well, yeah, Sam Darnold will have a game where you're like, wow, he looks really good, and he looks like...
If you want an example, watch the Cowboys game last year.
Yeah, where he looks like...
a franchise QB.
Yeah, he could be top 5 one day, right? If you watch that one game. But then...
He plays the Patriots.
He'll go on strings where 3 or 4 games in a row, and you're just like, he's adding nothing, and he's just like... out there,
yeah.
You know, looks kind of like lackadaisical out there.
Yeah,
kind of weird.
I'm a believer in Sam Darnold. I kind of hate that he's with Gase, not a really good coach, and hasn't really had a lot of people around him. But
yeah, I think the number one thing for Sam Darnold has to be like, after the first read is covered up, what does he do then? Because we've seen him in his career try to make the play like no matter what's there.
Yeah.
And it sometimes it results in, you know, great gains and highlight plays, but a lot of times it looks pretty ugly. So I think he really needs to work on that and kind of learning that medium between like being aggressive and being overly aggressive.
All right, let's move on to Le'Veon Bell in the running back position. I think Le'Veon Bell is underrated because I think he's still a good running back in pass catching, but he's not as good as he used to be, if that makes sense.
I don't think he's in the right system.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he still has the talent, but Gase absolutely hates him. They don't really give him a good position to do good. The stats don't do him justice. His stats suck.
Yeah, I don't know why they won't like use him
As a receiving back?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't
He's
understand.
got great hands.
I think compared to all the other receivers on the Jets, he would be the number one receiver on the Jets right now, hands down. He's as a receiver, he's better than any other.
Yeah, when I watch him personally, I kind of feel like he's lost a step a little bit.
Yeah.
And it definitely doesn't help that he's like a patient back who likes to wait, and then his whole with the Steelers and everything, and he was able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's playing with a bunch of freaking bricks up line
Yeah.
who are getting pushed, but in the wrong direction, so it's not really doing him any favors.
Let's talk about some other pass catchers. The real stinker of this offense. So new guy, Brashad Perryman. Just another Robbie Anderson
too.
super fast guy, just stretch the field.
Big,
I think
tall.
every team needs it, just not as a number one guy. This should be like your second or third guy.
I will say I would rather bring in Brashad Perryman than extend Robbie Anderson, but
I think
neither one of those options is intriguing.
I think Robbie Anderson is a little bit better,
Yeah.
but I think Perriman's a lot cheaper, so I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
They have Jamison Crowder, who's actually pretty good. Not amazing, but what he does is kind of like that slot guy that gets in open space, catches a 10-yard pass, and just falls down.
Yeah.
He's good at that. Some injury concerns, it's all right.
Yeah. Can't wait for him to play for the Patriots in a few years and be a superstar.
Yeah. They drafted Denzel Mims. You know, I've watched a lot of Big 12 games, especially him at Baylor, and he just never really jumped off the screen for me.
Yeah, he was never
That
he
number
never
one
rose
guy.
to the competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was fine with beating up on other teams that weren't up to par.
Like bad Big 12 defenses.
Yeah. Or, in an occasional bowl game he would look really good depending on who they're playing, but he never really stood out in like a prove it game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like on a national level, he never really had a number one game in college.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the tight ends. Nothing good to say.
One guy basically.
I mean, they have
who has
Chris
anything to
Herndon
offer.
and Ryan Griffin. Both, I think they're like the same guys. Herndon has a little bit more talent, but hasn't really done anything. He's missed a lot of games, honestly.
Mhm.
Like I said, nothing really good to say about them.
What's next? O-line?
O-line, ranked 29th in sacks with 52.
Yeah.
Oofa, like that's, oh my goodness, that's horrible.
I will say they have the chance to improve, but I don't know by how much. They got Becton, like
Yeah.
I said. So he's going to be the tackle that they're counting on to kind of help boost this line. I don't
Yeah.
know if he's going to play right or left. I'm going to guess it's going to be at left,
Yeah.
which is going to be a tall task for a rookie.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they signed George Fant, who was like a swing tackle for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
He was their sixth lineman a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily why they gave him that much money, but at least he has experience, okay? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt in that regard.
Yeah.
They have Brian Winters, who is good. He's a solid actual O-lineman.
Yeah.
And then they have, like, Connor McGovern is like a mid-tier starter. So, I don't know who's going to play their center, if it's going to be Josh or Jonathan Harrison again, but not as bad as they were last year, still not good.
I don't. They're gonna give up a lot of sacks. I feel bad for Darnold.
Yeah.
Let's move on to defense. Let's talk about their D-line.
I think the first person you have to talk about is their number 2 pick.
Quinnen Williams.
Yeah, I feel like no one remembers that he was so highly drafted.
Yeah.
It's only been a year.
Well, I mean, honestly, he hasn't really done much.
Oh yeah.
I think he missed a few games, but even when he did
Actually-
play, he wasn't that good.
Well, so I thought he missed like most of the season, right?
Yeah.
He only missed 2 games. He missed
really?
the first and the last
Yeah.
game of the season. But so I was thinking, okay, maybe he just didn't get in the rotation a lot because they have some okay players. No, he played more than 50% in all except for 3 games.
Yeah.
So he was on the field plenty. He just wasn't really putting it together.
Mm-mm.
So that kind of hurts. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just he's just not fast or quick enough at this weight
Or strong enough.
that like he was at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But he needs to get it together. I mean, he was fine as a run defender, but he gave them pretty much nothing in the pass rush.
Yeah.
So that hurts.
For being a team that had Sheldon Richardson and Leonard Williams and some other guys a few years ago.
Muhammad Wilkerson.
Yeah, this D-line is pretty bad compared to what they were. I mean, Quentin Williams does have talent, but they also have Steve McClendon, who's 34 and has never really been productive, and Henry Anderson, who's 28 and really hasn't been productive either. I mean, just a kind of a bunch of nobodies with Quentin Williams as, like you said, doing nothing.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, hurts real bad.
Well, yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
But I think even worse is their pass rush. I don't know if there's a worse pass rushing group in the league.
Especially because Quentin Williams might be one of their best pass rushers, and he's a D tackle.
Yeah, well, they have a lot of these guys who are going to be playing edge from the linebacker position.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're going to generate a pass rush. Because their best pass rusher is
Jordan Jenkins. He got like 8 sacks last year.
Yeah, well, Jordan Willis. But neither one of those guys are like, you probably don't even want them starting, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with you. I don't think this team's going to get a lot of sacks, and I just don't think their D-line in general is going to be – I think they're going to be pretty bad.
Yeah. Now, their linebacking room –
it's pretty good.
Yeah. They have Avery Williamson and C.J. Mosley, that's a really potent starting group.
Yeah, I mean, C.J. Mosley's a stud.
Avery Williams, on the field,
Avery Williamson isn't as good, but he's still pretty good, especially as a number 2 inside linebacker.
He can cover, which And then they also have Patrick Onwuasor from the Ravens. I was really surprised he didn't get like a starting gig.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. And then they have Blake Cashman.
Yeah.
Who was pretty good when he got to fill in for them last year. So that's a little bit of a bright spot. But then you move to like the corners.
Their secondary is horrible.
Not very good.
If you take out Jamal Adams, which I don't know if Jamal Adams is going to play this year.
Yeah, we'll see. He requested a trade.
No,
I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility that he plays for them again.
If he plays, he's so good that he's going to make them all right. But other than him, they're pretty bad. They have Marcus May, who's all right, Pierre Desir, who's put up all right stats, but both of them just really aren't that good. I mean, they're viable. Like a lot of guys on these bad teams have these players who are all right, but you don't want them as your starter. Yeah. Like you'll take it if they're a rotational player, but they're your starter, and that becomes a problem.
Yeah, Pierre Desir is good in man coverage, but he's kind of stiff.
Yeah.
So like when you put him in a zone and you kind of ask him to do a little more thinking, it's kind of not in his best interest.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Poole is a good slot corner. That's a good player there. Marcus May, I think, is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
He's been able to kind of like play off of Jamal Adams, where Jamal Adams is always down in the box and Marcus May is always over patrolling.
Yeah.
And he's been good at that. Now that's going to hurt if Jamal Adams isn't there to do that, of course. But it is what it is. They have Bleswan Austin, who's probably going to start outside opposite Desir. And then they drafted Ashton Davis. I don't really know why, because he's going to... he does the same thing that Marcus May does.
So we've been talking about some bad stuff. Let's talk about the pros.
What do they have to look forward to?
They actually have ability to win. They have a talent to make big plays. Sam Darnold can be a franchise QB. And their division's pretty weak. I think there's more competition
in the NFC as opposed to the AFC.
Yeah.
So, I guess there's a world compared to these teams that we've been talking about. They have somewhat of a path to a playoff spot.
So let's kind of like talk about the cons. You can't rely on these big plays to happen to win, and like they have the ability to win, but I think Gase is really going to hold them back.
Yeah, for me, I think when I look at what they have, like reasons to be pessimistic, is that they're kind of like they kind of remind me of the Jaguars, where nobody seems to want to be here.
Yeah,
they don't have a problem necessarily with bringing in talented players, but these players are getting here, and for whatever reason, they're disagreeing with ownership, coaching staff, and they want to leave. And that's not what you want if you're an NFL front office that's trying to build any kind of winning football team.
Yeah. Also, they might get rid of their best player right now. I mean, they might trade away Jamal Adams.
Oh, and I mean, we didn't even talk about it. It's like, there's a good chance that Le'Veon's not on the team next year.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even if he is, they're kind of wasting his career right now. I mean, they're just paying him a lot of money to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, let's talk about where they are right now. They should be in a rebuild stage, but they're not in a rebuild stage. They're in the stage of they're trying to make the playoffs, but like they're kind of delusional because they think they can make the playoffs, but everybody around the Jets organization is like, guys, you guys need to rebuild. You need to like do something, and they're not going to be able to rebuild until they get rid of Gase, because the number one thing to start a rebuild off with is their coaches.
Yeah, I think they're probably trying to hope to be like one of these teams like the 49ers or the Rams, who goes from like worst to first.
Yeah.
And two things need to happen when you have that: a young coach who knows what he's doing, like you said, and you need to have a favorable schedule.
Well, and a good O-line. I think all of the teams that have done that have had a good O-line.
Yeah, true. So maybe it's 3. Yeah. But they have none of those.
This has been No Facts Needed. Thanks for watching. Drop down your record predictions down low. Tell us what you think about the Jets, if you hate them, if you love them. And if you're a Jets fan, give us the Jets.
Jets. Jets.
Yeah.
Or tell us why you don't like Jamal anyway.
And you just want to trade him even though he's your best player. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple.
Follow us on social medias. Instagrams,
all of them, we're everywhere.
Facebooks.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.
Yeah. Jets.
Nice.
That's such a good chain, isn't it? Just spell the name.
Spell the name. Great idea, guys.
What if the Buccaneers did that?
I can't even spell it. That's just too. I can't do that.